Mercury retrograde is upon us. What do we do? Thank you guys for tuning in. I'm your astrologer for today, Honey's Astro. You guys can find me on my website, honeysastro.com, and also my social handles are Honey's Astro. I have a lot of articles, blog pages, services, astrology guides, sex and relationship astrology guide, how to read a birth chart astrology guide, and how to find my career purpose astrology guide. Everything's available directly from my website, honeysastro.com. I'm also thinking, guys, should I do a Patreon? I'm not really quite sure what it does exactly, but people keep saying to me, just do a Patreon. I'm like, should I, shan't I? What do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section of what you would expect from a Patreon. I don't know. I'll look into it and see. But anyway, guys, we are here today because we have Mercury retrograde coming up yet again. It's like we just got out of it, right? Oh my gosh. I want you guys to look back to almost a year ago where we had Mercury retrograding from December the 29th. What happened to you? What did you do that year? December the 29th up until January the 18th, 19th time, I think it was when we had Mercury retrograding in Capricorn last. And it's very important when it comes to astrology, you always look back when we had similar transits in the past, kind of make sense of what is likely to happen at this moment in time. But anyway, guys, we've got Mercury retrograding approaching. Mercury retrograde officially starts in the sign of Capricorn at 8 degrees on December the 13th. And Mercury will continue to retrograde up until January the 1st of 2024. However, shadow periods, let's talk about it. I'm not big on always including the shadow periods. I talk about it briefly, but I don't make it a big deal. And the reason why it's not a big deal for me when it comes to tracking the shadow periods is purely because when you track down events, look at charts, whatever, you never see Mercury in its shadow period. It's not essentially important if you're looking to make a long-term decision. For example, if you're trying to buy a house during a Mercury shadow period and you've got to sign a mortgage paper or a contract, then that's fine. However, if it can wait until after the Mercury retrograde and shadow period, then that's even better. If you sign it during the Mercury retrograde, there's going to be problems. But my point is, if you can't avoid something during the shadow period, it's not a big deal. Don't stress out about it. The shadow period actually starts from November the 25th, so it's already started now, up until the 20th of January. And during this time, do not stress yourself out too much to the point where, oh my God, what should I be doing? This is just a good time to kind of prepare for the retrograde. So for example, what I would do, because when it comes to Mercury retrograde, I am heavily affected by it every single year. So I might end up going to get little bits and bobs fixed on my car, or I might try and do more work during that time, because when the Mercury retrograde officially starts, that's when I'm overwhelmed with work, or that's when I will have car problems. So the people who are going to be affected by the Mercury retrograde are the people who are ruled by Mercury, which can be Gemini risings, Virgo risings, people who have Mercury as their activated ruler for the year in their annual perfections. And also if you happen to be a cardinal sign, you know, cardinal is Aries, Libra, Cancer, Capricorn, at around the 8th degree in the earlier degrees. So you're likely to be affected by the retrograde. Mercury retrograde affects everybody as a collective. And during certain periods in the year, other people will be affected more than, you know, other people. Everyone's gonna have their time. During the Mercury retrograde, this is where like celebrities are now talking about, oh my God, it's Mercury retrograde, and people are just constantly talking about it, but not quite knowing if it even affects them that bad. Some of the common themes that happen with Mercury retrograde is literally miscommunications, you know, breaking up with a boyfriend, a partner, having issues with where you live. It all depends on where Mercury is in your chart, right, aspecting through your chart, and also your personal placement. I'm not the biggest fan of signing contracts during this time, starting a new project, or at least launching a new project. And the reason why we don't like to promote launching projects during this time is that you're never happy with these projects. I'll give you an example of what happened to me a few years ago. Some of you guys that follow me on Instagram would remember that I had this creative space, and it was like a little office, and the plan was to do a lot of stuff with the office. I signed the contract for this maybe 5 minutes before Mercury went retrograde. 5 minutes I was so desperate to have it. But it's like, if I didn't take it now, I would never have been able to have that amazing opportunity to have this space. And this was during COVID times, and it was me and my partner in the house, and it was just overwhelming. I had to just escape from him. Like, let me get into my space to create and do my thing. I took it and I absolutely loved the space. Very happy with it. However, as time went on, I felt like I wasn't as happy with it as I thought I was going to end up. And also I fell pregnant, so I couldn't be here in the creative space every day. And it was just time to go, I think after about like 8 months. So my point is, when it comes to Mercury retrogrades, don't stress out too much, because what happens during that time tends to be temporary. You may be pushed into making a decision, but that decision is going to lead to disappointments or just the feeling of not being completely happy with it, as opposed to how you kind of wanted to feel. Some people end up having to sign a new lease for a house. They hate their roommates, they hate the property after a year of being there, and it's just time to go. But I don't want you guys feeling afraid, because sometimes you literally cannot prepare for what is about to happen, and that's okay. The purpose of Mercury retrograde is to encourage us to slow down. It's important that we slow down, because we can get so caught up with life. You know, we are going to work every day, we are stuck in a routine, you know, we are communicating the same. It's about us being a lot more reflective, more responsive, be more reflective, reflecting on the things that you say, how you say it, you know, how you react, how you respond, just being in your head a little bit more, and analyzing your behavior and analyzing the way in which you think. You know, thinking about, is this the right job for me? What should I really be doing? You know, it's just about thinking a lot more and processing the information better. Like, people talk about like exes coming back, or people from the past coming back and apologizing, and sometimes even that is a good time to release, you know. So when people do come back into your life, allow them to clear the air, allow them to, oh, you know what, I'm sorry, and you can just say, it's fine, I can accept it, and move on with your life. It's not a time to continuously hold grudges in, but it can be a time to release what you haven't had a chance to say to someone when it's presented to you. In terms of things like work and what you do on a day-to-day basis, this can also relate to what systems you've been using at work, what things need to be changed at work, or even how you commute to work. You know, do you take train, do you take bus, do you drive, do you walk? What other route can you take during this time to avoid the city traffic that's just started because they put new traffic lights in, or wherever it could be? Everyone's situation will be very different, but my point is, you kind of want to just reassess what you're doing on a day-to-day basis. And it just means sitting back and thinking. It's literally as simple as that. Now remember, Mercury goes retrograde on December the 13th, but by the time it reaches December the 23rd, Mercury goes retrograde into the sign of Sagittarius. Now 3 days later is when Mercury is going to be forming a conjunction with Mars, whilst also squaring Neptune. Those of us who celebrate Family Day, December the 25th, I am slightly worried about this, because I feel like there's going to be a lot of drama that we're going to see displayed online with family members, especially siblings. Not just online, but what's happening in your own personal lives. So the retrograde can also activate issues with siblings as well. And with the Mars being there, the things that you say, your sibling will take it more personal than they would have done if you said it last week. It's going to be a very sensitive time. And also when you look at the Mercury squaring the Neptune is what adds to the level of confusion, honey. Like, speaking to people, it makes it a lot harder for you to logically analyze something. So you could be telling your sibling something that is clear as day, that everyone thinks and believes that this is what's happening or what you're doing, which is wrong, and you are like, that's not true, I'm not this way, I'm not doing that, in denial. And that makes you defensive, reactive. You're gonna say things that you're gonna regret later. That's the Mars with the Mercury. So there's likely to be a sibling or a cousin who you're going to get into an issue with during this period, who is being absolutely in denial. And Gemini risings, Virgo rising. At this time, Mercury will be in Sagittarius, yeah? Going through your 4th house, going through your 7th house. It's just going to be a lot of stress on us. Libra risings, Mercury will be going through your 3rd house. So there's going to be a lot of stress on us in terms of when it comes to our family, our siblings, and our relationships. So be very mindful of what you say, how you say it, but also falling out with people closest to us. So drama at home. Also, the people who are impressionable, you want to be mindful not to invest your money in a spiritualist during the Mercury retrograde as well, unless you have like a trusted source that has recommended that person. I don't recommend like just booking with someone online that you see on Twitter, on Instagram, or with whoever. There are a lot of scammers out there that are pretending to be us online. And you want to verify your sources, you want to verify that this is the person you're sending your money to, but just be very mindful. And not just spiritualists, but, you know, investing in things that you haven't quite invested in before, you've not paid for before. These are all things you've got to worry about, because with this Mercury square Neptune and the Mars, there can be some backlash from it. So what do I suggest? What you need to do is think about a month from now, 2 months from now. What do you want to have completed in 2 months from now? Let's say you wanted to have a brand new bedroom, you know, you want to redecorate everything. This is the time to start looking at different colors, picking the sorts of themes that you want, and then start buying little bits and stuff, and then eventually start putting things together. If you're looking for a new car, this is a great time to look for cars, test drive cars, but not buy one as of yet, right? But you want to kind of prepare for this project or this event, this interest, or whatever you got going on that you want to have, and it be completed by the end of January, early February. This is the time to start preparing for that to happen. Be mindful of the things that you say and how you say those things. Make sure that whatever information you are taking in from others, you have fact checked it, or you are thinking critically. So everything about retrograde is making you have to revise, rethink, revisit, and just slow down when you are processing information. And that is literally what we're looking at. So that's what I would probably focus on, is the preparation for now, as opposed to the end result. Just focus on the preparation to have it. All right. So that is your video. I hope you guys have enjoyed it, and I will see you on the next one. Bye.